So afternoon, everybody. So today my talk is more on presenting the challenges we are facing within farmer for adopting additive manufacturing, as I've been instructed by Richard to presenting problems instead of giving solutions. So I think what I'll be talking about, for farmer products is no different from other products. You always need the balance of quality, cost, and speed in terms of manufacturing. But as we heard from yesterday, the MHRA regulatory talks, pharmaceutical products, when it comes to quality, we are very tightly constrained by the high standard of regulatory limitations. So here are just a few examples of the organizations around the world regulating all the medical and the pharmaceutical products. So that really is present one of the major barriers for using additive manufacturing within the pharmaceutical industry. That led to, so far, despite the sharp increase in terms of research activities within the field, we're still stuck with one product which is in the true sense of being made using an additive type of manufacturing method, but it's a very simple method which are allowed to continuously manufacture large batch of products. So this is really not decentralized, but it's centralized manufacturing. So not too different in terms of how the facility is arranged, how the batch is being released, and how the traditional regulatory framework can be used to examine the products made through this particular type of additive manufacturing method. Although there is one more coming, so this is a Chinese company where they have kind of made a good attempt of putting forward of FDM-based 3D printing. But as you can see on the bottom of the right-hand side, what they have been trying to do is trying to implement all the PATs which are already existing and highly recommended by regulatory bodies for quality control into the process, and building in the robotic workflow to allow the manufacturing process, even is using existing well-known 3D printing method, but make it to fit with the current regulatory framework. So they also gone through the route in terms of regulatory for new drug instead of a new manufacturing process. So they do have in-house, I think they called T19, T21, new drug as a path to go through the approval process instead of just a new manufacturing method. So these are mainly I see as the regulatory barrier, as the key barriers to moving additive manufacturing into the decentralized medicine manufacturing. Here's what they have in their press release of what potentially they could do again, it's pretty much endless possibilities, which is something I would talk, which I see is a challenge for design. Secondly, to the quality, which is directly related to patient safety, that's why we need to regulate so tightly, is towards the manufacturing and brands, that is the cost and the speed. So these two are interlinked. When we talk about decentralized manufacturing for farmers, we always related the primary application would be useful for personalized medicine. And there's a good reason of why, and this is just one of the reasons I'm presenting here, why we would need, or there is a need for personalized medicine. So one example of a good rationale is such a fast growing aging population around the world. not only within UK. And there are many people are, living on a daily basis of taking multiple medications and spending quite a significant proportion of their day just struggling of taking medications. So if we could personalize those medications, even just to combine 3 or 4, you're reducing the 7 medications into 2 pills a day would significantly increase the quality of life of patient. In addition, without being able to tailor kind of dosing the patient, a significant proportion of this patient taking commercially available fixed dose products, they often been put in the risk of side effects because the dose and the regimen not so well fit with them. So that's really the big rationale of everybody's talking about in terms of personalized medicine. And as we can see, the requirement of you be able to personalize is you will be able to flexible in terms of dose and flexible in terms of the combination of the drugs. That is completely changed the landscape of, we start with currently we manufacturing hundreds, thousands, exactly the same tablets in a very high speed, to we have to significantly reduce the volume, possibly manufacturing at a closer to the point of care, but with pretty much endless possibility of how you can really combine those few different medications for each patient, and I'll talk about that later. So before I go into in terms of the variabilities we could get in, I think one of very important things to think about, and this potentially could be penetrate into the design issues, it is the supply chain. So how you really manage. So this is currently how a farmer product going from the raw material the whole way to the patient, how complex the supply chain is, and make it less resilient, of course. And we all see that through the COVID period. And this could be the benefits of if we do have a decentralized, just bear in mind that that is a logo of one of the company, which is called Continue Farmer. So this is what you could simplify it if you are start making more decentralized and personalized dose and batch. So this is the workflow after we tried to interpret MHRA's regulatory framework proposal in terms of how potentially decentralized manufacturing of medicine could work. So the local hubs can potentially serve each hospitals within the region or pharmacies within the region, but still allowing those manufacturing hubs to have the right manufacturing infrastructure and conditions, i.e. need to comply with the GMP. And you would have qualified person, which are the people regularly reporting as well as facilitating the monitoring of the performance of instruments and the printers, for example, to facilitate the quality control, which is still a vague section within the framework. Okay, so I'm going to move into the challenges I see in terms of related to the design, and this is also related to the quality and the speed of potentially how additive manufacturing can be used for manufacturing pharmaceuticals. So this is just a few proposals I've taken from, or summaries I've taken from very recent review articles within the pharma field. And these are people think what additive manufacturing really offering. I don't really quite see these are the good options to go, actually. All these complex geometries people proposing, which is advantage of what additive manufacturing could do, not necessarily really are realistic, because they take much longer to print in comparison to what you really want them in terms of speed to print. And they may give you the functionalities you do have, but within, when I say functionality, for example, one of the key functionalities for a pharmaceutical products is how quick and how slow the release of the drug can be achieved. And that's what the central graph here showing you, either on a very quick release, or you're on a pulsive release, or you're on a controlled release. And all this may be able to achieve, the desired release rate, but we think there's a simplified way you could do this to make sure you still have the lowest printing time, without compromising the quality, because when you are trying to print something complicated, and this is the results, although they are not even complicated. And this is the challenge Andy mentioned yesterday in terms of material. The reason for farmer be able to print such a bad quality tablet is because our materials are actually not that printing friendly. So one example of design approach we proposed is really get rid of all those ideas of endless different designs of different shapes and geometries. Is looking at how you can control the microstructure. So simply by using the microstructure, for example, infills, and how you align the different print paths, be able to modulate release. So you can have universally, every tablets are still not so different. They are still circular, but as far as you fully understand and know how to control the microstructure, you will be able to still achieve very significantly different functionality, i.e. the release profile. So the second challenge I really see here is the manufacturing process. So this is one example of an existing company, their systems. So as you can see, it's a single unit system, still using very traditional FDM printing. I realize my time is almost up. And what the issue with the commercial printers is often the slicer softwares are not allowing you to achieve what you would like to achieve. And this is just simple comparison. We use the two different type of slicing method. One is with the commercial printer, what is available. One is use the open source. And what we get is very significant different surface area to volume ratio. The reason we pay attention on surface area to volume ratio is because it's directly impact on the functionality of the tablets in terms of how quick and how slow the drug can be released.
Just say, Sheng, you do have a few minutes. You started, you started a little bit after time, so I won't punish you for that.
Okay, that's fine. So I can slow down a tiny bit. So we're also looking into, I think this is also a design from the manufacturing point of view, is how we can really design the hardware, which we can, incorporate multiple printing method within to one single printing workflow. So this is example of we be able to use two different combine of two different printing methods to create a very functional tablet. So this is a tablet with one layer of very rapid release drug, which you need instantly. This is for stop bleeding. And another tablet layer, which is printed by FDM, which for anti-inflammation, you can continue with very controlled and sustained release to carry out anti-inflammation activities. Although we have to do it separately because there's no hardware existing, we were able to continue doing this within one unit of hardware. But I'm sure that is something quite easily can be solved. I think the final design challenge is the scalability, and there has been startup companies trying to address this. So this is one of the spin out from MIT. They trying to build on the concept of just printing capsules with all different compartments and the different thickness of the compartment. Again, FDM based system. And then they will be able to put different type of drugs into each compartment. Because you are printing different thickness, then you would have a different release profile. And this is how they're trying to make it scalable. So they kind of pretty much in parallel and incorporation of robotic systems to be able to address the scalability issue. I think the company now giving up of printing pharmaceuticals and move on to cell therapy. Finally, I don't think I'm going to talk too much, but I think this is one missing link of if we really want to truly talk about personalization, you cannot avoid actually how that information in terms of personalized dosing and drug combination can be translated into or transmitted into the printer and to be printed. And that is the place I think, the blockchain and a lot of big data approach could potentially be used. And things like QR code has been proposed for a long time to add the security for pharmaceutical products. Okay, so that's the end of my talk. yeah, happy to answer any questions, but I don't think I've addressed any problems. But very happy to join the discussions.
No problems. Thanks, Sheng. But that was great. Excellent start to the afternoon. Thanks very much.
No problem.